Hey, I'm Steven and this is Solving the Money Problem. If you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. Today, Jim Cramer made some of the most important, profound and positive statements I've ever heard come out of his mouth. I know, take it with a grain of salt, but look, what he said was important enough that I'm making a video about it. So without further ado, let's dive in. I almost forgot, I actually have to run a quick errand. I've just got one little thing to do before I start this. So I'll just get that done and then I'll get back into it. One sec. Much better. So yeah, got that taken care of. Get it mic'd up again and off we go. Just one quick thing to pay attention to. Watch the body language of Becky as these questions and answers are sort of going back and forth. Just watch things play out over the course of the very short clip.
What about the two big oil companies, Exxon and Chevron today? Both of them drags on the Dow right now.
Now, I could be hallucinating here, but it does appear to me, maybe, possibly, there's an emotional reaction here. She looks a little bit sad. Is it possible that perhaps she owns some of these stocks that are not doing so well currently? Maybe, just maybe. I have no evidence. Let's just see how things play out. It's possible.
I know that Mike won't want to hear this, but I'm done with fossil fuels. They're done. Yeah, they're just done.
Because of...
This is absolutely huge from Cramer. He has said fossil fuels are done, and he said he's done with fossil fuels. If we unpack this, the implication here is that he is no longer interested in these as an asset. Done. And as a consumer. Done. And as an overall industry, it is done. This matters so much because everybody already knows this. At least the people with a brain in their head know this already. But to come out of the closet, so to speak, on television now and to tell everybody what those people behind closed doors already know, that we're getting off fossil fuels, it's just happening, is really important. And Jim is probably going to cop a lot of heat from a lot of friends. He's acknowledged this earlier before he started speaking because he knows he's got a lot of people that are making a lot of money out of big oil and, well, the party's over, ladies and gentlemen.
We're starting to see divestment all over the world. We're starting to see the companies just regard them as, big pension funds saying, listen, we're not going to own them anymore.
One, this is true, and two, this matters. Big funds getting out of the stock means that other smaller investors might get out of stocks too, because if they're concerned about the future prospects and they decide to leave the stock because the big funds are leaving, then you can have this domino effect. And the ripples from this one comment on television can actually spread right throughout the market. Who knows if this will be the case? But Cramer has now said something that's going to cause that domino effect. I'm not saying that it's going to be the only catalyst, but it's part of a conversation that's going to change very quickly. Because who wants to be associated with f***ing up the planet? Who?
It
Do you think that's the biggest thing holding these guys back and not necessarily just oil production here in the United States?
Absolutely.
Now again, this could be me hallucinating, but let's just play along at home. Suppose you did own some of these stocks and you just heard somebody as reputable as Jim Cramer say the entire category is done. You might starting to question, should I still be owning these? What's going on here? Wait, you mean, when you say done, you don't mean done, right? You mean like, do you mean done? Like done? Oh. Now again, this is just an hallucination. But this Becky host in the past has been very, very hard on Tesla. Very hard on Tesla. I mean, yeah, I could be hallucinating some things here. Maybe some interest in oil and therefore trashing, I don't know. I mean, I'm just hallucinating here, but it is possible.
Do you think that's the biggest thing holding these guys back and not necessarily just oil production here in the United States?
Absolutely. I think it is. I mean, you could say, listen, China, obviously swing market. No, the world's changed. There's new managers. They don't want to hear whether these are good or bad. Look at BP. It's a solid yield. Very good. Look at Chevron buying back $5 billion worth of stock. Nobody cares.
He is absolutely right. People now really care about the consequences and the impact of their investments, not just the financials. And this transition is happening. Typically, the baby boomer generation are less aware, unless they dropped a ton of LSD back in the day. I'm just less aware or less concerned about these impacts. New generation, it's our problem to deal with, and yeah, we do care. So this is actually causing a bit of a shift. Jim's identified something that's very important now. People will voluntarily turn away from investments that don't align with their values. Oil is one of them for most people, because most people know that climate change is going to f the planet up. Most people would rather not live on a planet that's fucked up, and so they would rather not invest in companies that are fucking up our planet. I get that. That's fair. I'm one of them.
And this has to do with new kinds of money managers who frankly just want to appease younger people who believe that you can't ever make a fossil fuel company sustainable. That's why I said Mike Wirth's trying everything he can, but in the end, they make fossil fuels. And that's going to be, we're in the death knell phase.
Massive call from Jim Cramer, but it's loud and clear. He's just said, in terms of the fossil fuel industry, we are hearing the bell tolling to mark its death. It is game over. This is huge. Now, we'll watch this again. Watch Becky's reaction again. This is all just based on my hallucination, but we could put a few pieces of the puzzle together. Some things might make some sense.
I know that's very
death knell phase for the stocks, but not for the death knell phase for us using fossil fuels, right?
Yeah. Well, I think that...
You ever have a moment where you learn a new piece of information and your brain starts processing and you basically just turn into a potato for a few seconds? It's just everything's running. It's like, wait, what? I think this might be what's happening. Let's watch.
Death knell phase for the stocks, but not for the death knell phase for us using fossil fuels, right?
Yeah. Well, I think that...
Again, totally hallucinating, but notice that Becky asks almost for reassurance, right? Right?
But not for the death knell phase for us using fossil fuels, right?
Yeah. Well, I think that the issue is sustainability. Look, this is the other side of Tesla. These stocks don't want to be owned by younger people. Their dividends are great. These companies are doing better than, obviously, when oil was at, even 4 years ago, when oil was at 26, 27. But you can tell that the world's turned on them. And it's actually kind of happening very quickly. You're seeing divestiture by a lot of different funds. It's going to be a parade. It's going to be a parade that says, look, these are tobacco, and we're not going to own them.
Got to give credit where it's due. That was brilliant by Jim. Great analogy. Great way of describing what's happening right now. The transition has happened. He's absolutely right. Fossil fuels, oil, they are tobacco. They are cigarettes. Sentiment has shifted now. Sure, some people will be a little bit slower than others to wake up, but this has happened. It's already done. This is why Jim now is saying oil is done. Fossil fuels are done. And I think possibly Becky may be starting to understand, wait a minute, he really means what he means done.
Wow. That's a really tough stream to swim against.
They're tobacco.
If that's the case.
I think they're tobacco. We're in a new world. And some of us could be kicking and screaming to even believe that could be the case, but they're tobacco.
That's a rough prognosis. I'm going to think some more about that. So we're watching...
prognosis negative.
I don't know whether to laugh or cry watching that. But the point is this. Becky is a proxy for all the people that are sitting at home that will hear this live or hear talk about it in the future, in the coming days, weeks, and months. Jim Cramer said that fossil fuels are done. This actually matters. The guy has a platform and a huge amount of influence. Whether or not you believe it's justified doesn't matter. He's on television, he's on CNBC, he gets broadcast into hundreds of thousands of homes. People hear what he says, listen, and then act on that information. So this is going to have a major impact. And what we're seeing now, Becky as the proxy for the person sitting at home, is that process of, oh, fuck. So what's going to happen here is people are going to pull their money out of these stocks. Not necessarily for ethical issues. I mean, people are doing that already. But also now because it just doesn't make financial sense. The train wreck is coming. Everyone can see the writing on the wall. And Cramer has said the writing's on the wall. So if people are pulling money out of these energy stocks, they're going to have capital that they want to redeploy. What better place to redeploy that capital than into the energy sector, but into sustainable energy? Does anybody know a company out there that you might want to put that kind of money in? Maybe they do solar and batteries. Any ideas? Guys, leave it in the comments below if you can think of a company that might be an option for people to invest if they've left fossil fuels.
That's a really tough stream to swim against.
They're tobacco.
If that's the case.
I think they're tobacco. We're in a new world. And some of us could be kicking and screaming to even believe that could be the case, but they're tobacco.
That's a rough prognosis. I'm going to think some more about that. So we're watching...
prognosis negative.
I really appreciate the brutal honesty here from Jim. It's been very direct. It is a rough prognosis, all right? So the point here, guys, this is the process that's going to be happening through many, many, many minds in the wake of this one thing going to air. Of course, it doesn't mean things will change overnight, but this is really like a stake in the ground in terms of a sentiment shift. Jim Cramer has come out. There's a lot of money still to be made in big oil, okay? These are the facts. It's not for long, but it's still there. Jim's come out against a lot of his peers and said, look, oil's toast, we're moving away from it, and he's acknowledged that publicly. People are going to be exiting fossil fuels and moving into sustainable energy.
We're watching the Dow drag down by these three today, but the NASDAQ's been holding up because of Amazon. 2008 is now the number it needed to cross above to get above $1 trillion market cap.
Well, Amazon, you read that, they're one of the most sustainable companies, even though they do a lot of packaging. Look, it's a new world, Becky, and Exxon could have reported an upside surprise. I don't think it would matter.
Wow.
Well, Jim Cramer has spoken, and I personally think this is actually very important. I'm Stephen Mark Ryan. This is Solving the Money Problem, and I love you all.
That's a rough prognosis. I'm going to think some more about that.
Thanks so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. P.S. If you're still watching, you're awesome. This channel has kind of blown up since it launched, and I'm working on making the best possible content for you guys, but it takes time. Consider supporting the channel at patreon.com/solvingthemoneyproblem so I can continue creating content for you guys. There's a link in the description. Either way, the best kind of support is you being here and watching, so thanks again.
It's pretty good.